The circulatory system is cardiovascular. So we start with the human heart. And this is showing the anterior view of the human heart. When we're looking at it from the frontal view, from the anterior view, we have this groove that is called anterior interventricular sulcus. This is going in the middle of the heart, and it's between the two ventricles, these two spaces, these two chambers of the heart, and it's in the anterior view. So it's called anterior interventricular sulcus. And we have on the right side of the model, we have this chamber, which is called right ventricle. Above it, this chamber is called right auricle. We have left auricle, left ventricle. These are the four chambers of the heart. We have this blood vessel is called pulmonary trunk. Pulmonary trunk branches into left pulmonary artery and right pulmonary artery, which we don't see here in this picture. You have left pulmonary veins and right pulmonary veins, which are not seen in this picture. We have superior vena cava that brings all the deoxygenated or less oxygenated blood back into the heart through superior vena cava. And then superior vena cava branches into left brachiocephalic vein and right brachiocephalic vein. You have this blue blood vessel is called great cardiac vein. It actually sits in the anterior interventricular sulcus, and you have anterior interventricular artery here. We also see here, these are called coronary arteries and veins. These are the blood vessels that feed the heart itself. This is called, in red, it's called right coronary artery. Right coronary artery. This little guy here is left coronary artery, which is divided into circumflex artery, goes this way, and anterior interventricular artery. When we look at aorta, this is the biggest artery in your, biggest and longest artery in your body. You are looking at sections of it. If it's going up, we call it ascending aorta. When it's in the arch, aortic arch, and then we're going to go down, it's called descending aorta. If it's above the diaphragm, we call it thoracic aorta. If it's below diaphragm, we call it abdominal aorta. Aorta is further subdivided into brachiocephalic artery on the right side, left common carotid artery, and left subclavian artery. So this is the pulmonary trunk, and we are looking at this chamber inside the auricles, right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle. This is an anterior view of a coronal section. So we kind of made a coronal section and we opened the heart and we're looking inside the heart. The valve between the right atrium and right ventricle is called tricuspid valve. The valve between left atrium and left ventricle is called bicuspid valve. Both tricuspid valves and bicuspid valves are connected to these muscles. They're called papillary muscles through chordae tendineae. Chordae tendineae. These papillary muscles, when they contract, they pull the valves, they pull these strings and open the valves. So the blood can stream from the atria into the ventricles. there is a wall in between the two ventricles. It's called interventricular septum. We have the same wall, which is not shown here, between the two atria. It's called interatrial septum. Here is showing us ascending aorta. At the very opening of the aorta to the left ventricle, we have a valve. This is called aortic semilunar valve. Aortic semilunar valve. We have a pulmonary semilunar valve, but it's not shown here. Here, again, we can see the pulmonary semilunar valve. This is pulmonary trunk. This is ascending aorta here. And this is superior vena cava. This one is your right atria, left atria, a little bit of it you can see. Left ventricle, right ventricle, tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve. You have chordae tendineae on both sides. You have layers of the heart from outside in. Is called epicardium, this layer. The meaty part of it is called myocardium, and the inside layer is called endocardium. We're looking at the anterior view of the heart, endocardium. Here again, we're continuing to look at more structures. This is a coronal section of the heart, and it's showing us the anterior view. I can see the right auricle, left auricle, right ventricle, left ventricle, tricuspid valve, chordae tendineae, bicuspid valve. We have papillary muscles shown here. We have this band, which only is seen on the right side. This is called moderator band. Moderator band is there because the outer layer muscle of the right side is actually very skinny, and that moderator band, when it gets too distended with the blood, it can bring the wall back to its normal size. How do I know where my right side is after I have a coronal section? Which section is showing me the anterior view on the right side and on the left side? The outer wall of the left ventricle is much thicker than the outer wall of right ventricle. Reason being because left ventricle has to pump blood to the whole entire body, but right ventricle is just going to the next door neighbor to the lungs. So that's why we also have moderator band only on the right side.